Guys, it's Kevin Hetzel from Fit for Life, and we're here for our live coaching session for our 28-day holiday belly burn. We just finished week one. Everybody's kind of submitting their weights and their measurements now, and you can send me your weigh-ins. You can get the weigh-in at the studio, and we automatically record it, and it gets added to your stat sheet. And if you didn't get a chance to do it at the studio, it was busy, we weren't available, you can also just get it from your scale at home, and then just email or text it to me, and then you'll be in the stats. So when you get your final measurements, of course, we're going to have to get them all at the studio, so it's, everybody's on the same level playing field. But just know that for these weekly weigh-ins, which you do need to send me a weekly weigh-in, you can miss 1 week, but that's it. But just make sure you send me those weekly weigh-ins. Make sure I'll list the top 10. And just know it's by percentage of body weight loss. So I take the amount of weight you've lost and divide it by your starting body weight, which will give us the percentage of body weight loss. And this will not include, when I give you the stats, the biggest losers for tomorrow, will not include the bonus points, which can make a big difference at the very end. And just as a reminder to what those bonus points are, if you check in on Facebook after every workout, that gets you a point. If you do a MyFitnessPal Food Journal review every day for this 28 days, that gives you a bonus point. And also, if you come to 16 workouts for the 28 days, you get another bonus point. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but in the very end, that 1 point can make a huge difference. That's 1 percentage point. So that can make a really big difference from somebody who's in 10th can come into like 3rd. And if you're in 5th, you might be able to sneak in and get 1st. So those bonus points can really make a big difference. Now, I know a lot of people have already sent me their weigh-ins already, and some people are doing awesome. But I want to talk today about those people that aren't doing so awesome, because you can almost do everything right, you can eat right, you can exercise more, and the scale might not move. So I want to talk today about what is happening if the scale doesn't budge. And there's quite a few reasons, and I'm going to go through the most important ones and the ones that you're most likely going to be running into. Now, for people that are just starting, haven't really started a strength training program before, are new to exercise, what's happening in usually the first 4 to 8 weeks of starting a strength routine, which boot camps are quite a bit of strength training, and obviously mixed in, fused with cardiovascular bursts. What you're doing is you're exchanging fat with muscle. So you're going to be losing more inches and body fat percentage in the beginning, more so than the scale changing. You'll be shocked if the scale might not change at all in these 28 days, but your clothes are falling off. You can lose anywhere from 2 to 5 inches. You can lose 3 to 4% body fat, which is amazing, to tell you the truth. It's almost like you've lost 8 to 12 pounds. If you lose anywhere from about 3 to 5% body fat, it's in essence like you've lost 8 to 12 pounds of fat, which is amazing. But the scale might not change because you're losing body fat, but you're replacing some of it with leaner, denser muscle. Not bigger muscle, just leaner, denser muscle. So don't freak out that you're going to get big and bulky. That's not what's going to happen. But you are going to get leaner, denser muscle, which can compensate sometimes for the weight not coming off in the very beginning. Obviously, there's only so much lean, denser muscle you can put on your body, so usually that's when, after like week 4, week 8, is when you might see the scale start to move more. So don't be distracted if you don't see the scale move, but you're like, oh my God, my clothes are feeling better, my clothes are looser, my belt feels better, my tighter clothes are now feeling normal, or maybe even loose. Go by your inches and your body fat. That's a much better indicator of success in the beginning, more so than the pounds on the scale. So don't freak out if the scale doesn't move much. It's most likely because you're replacing fat with muscle. Now, there are some other things going on. There could be, sometimes there's medications involved. A lot of people taking medications for anti-anxiety medications, anti-cholesterol, anti-hypertensive medications. All of those have side effects of weight gain. And even if you stop those medications a long time ago, maybe even a couple months ago, it can take a while for those meds to get out of your system if you were taking them for a while, and also taking steroids, corticosteroids, not anabolic for God's sakes. So there are quite a few medications that can stay in your system for quite a long period of time and make weight loss really hard, because those medications are causing the weight gain. So medications, even if you stopped them a while ago, can still cause some of those issues to make weight loss just difficult, and make it a little bit more struggling. A lot of people, which I think most of these people are going to see when they're going to be dealing with this, if they didn't see the scale change much, is that they're eating too little. And I know it doesn't make sense. You're like, oh my God, I'm exercising, I'm eating better, and I'm not losing. And you would think that by cutting back on calories and exercising and eating better, you would lose weight automatically. But if you're restricting your calories to like 1,200 calories or maybe even a little bit lower, and the only way to really know if you're doing that is by using MyFitnessPal and trying to keep an accurate food record. of what you're doing. So one of the first things is, if you're not losing weight, is to use a food journal. You need it for at least 2 or 3 days, 2 weekdays and 1 weekend day. Log everything as accurately as you can so we can see what's going on. We can look at it over with you. We'll start looking at them on MyFitnessPal. If you ever have a question, say, hey Kev, I'm stuck. Can you check out MyFitnessPal and see what's going on? And I'll give you an instant analysis and tell you what's going on. Most people, it is under eating. If you're eating 1,200 calories, you're working out and you're eating right, 1,200 calories is not enough. Most people, and this is a generic amount of, a generic kind of across the board, if you're working out and coming to boot camp, you need about 1,400 to 1,600 calories for that day. And that's for like a normal person. If you're bigger, a little heavier, if you're maybe in the 200-pound zone, you might need about 18 to 2,000 calories. So don't think that by automatically cutting calories in eating 1,200 calories is a good idea. For a lot of people, 1,200 calories is going to be way too few calories. And I know I was just talking with someone earlier today that they were kind of stuck. And it was somebody who's been working out for a while. They're kind of a stud. They've been working out for quite a while. And are eating 1,200 calories. And I'm like, well, that's why. You won't see the scale budge, and the body fat won't come off because you're going into a starvation mode. So the more you work out, the more you need to eat. Don't think by cutting calories you're going to see your results come faster. You can actually sabotage your metabolism and not see any results at all. And I would much rather see you overeat than undereat, to be perfectly honest. Because the more that you starve your body, it takes a way longer time for your body to reset itself and your metabolism to reset than it does to just burn a few extra calories off because you overate that day. So be concerned with undereating. And if you're, like I said, if you're not sure what happened and you're not using MyFitnessPal, definitely use MyFitnessPal, because I have to, for me to be able even to start figuring out what happened with you, I really need to make sure that we know exactly what happened, what's working right, what's not working right, what you did, so I know how everything's working. Because if I don't have an idea of that, I can't really troubleshoot with you. So definitely use MyFitnessPal for 2 or 3 days. Like I said, 2 weekend days and 1 weekend day are usually enough for us to get a good idea of where you're at. And also, by you just filling it in, you'll probably get a pretty good idea where you're at. Usually it's sugar, salt, and under eating. And eating under the calories that you're supposed to get in each day can be the biggest reasons. And one of the things I was talking about before with under eating is, in MyFitnessPal, you do want to enter your exercise into the exercise. If there's a part of MyFitnessPal where you can enter in your exercise. And boot camp, you can just go to add cardio and just say aerobic high impact. And for however long you do it, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, you're going to burn about like 300 to 400 calories during boot camp, generically speaking, and obviously depending on your body size, we'll give or take a few or a few more, a few less calories. So if you're supposed to eat 1,200 calories, you add that 400 calories on top, that's 1,600 calories you're supposed to be eating for that day. So that's where a lot of people go wrong with MyFitnessPal, is they don't punch in their activity for that day. And if you go for a run, you go for a spin class, you go for a yoga, a kickboxing class, or whatever the class may be, try to find it in MyFitnessPal, and if you can't, just put aerobic high intensity. That's usually one of the easiest things to add it in as an aerobic cardiovascular exercise to make your life a lot easier. And once you enter it in, it adds calories that you're supposed to eat that day. So one of the better things to do is don't add those exercises. If you work out at nighttime, put the workout in the early morning so you know how many calories you're supposed to have for the full day, and not just have an extra 500 calories you're supposed to eat at nighttime, which obviously isn't the smartest time to eat a bunch of calories when you're about ready to go to bed. So do MyFitnessPal, enter the exercise in, and just make sure that you're not under eating. Because like I said, if you're eating 1,200 calories, for almost anybody who's coming to boot camp, 1,200 calories is too low. For most people, it's going to be 1,400 to 2,000 calories, depending on your body size and how often you're working out, and the intensity at which you're working out as well. So those are some of the big ones. Now, some other things that could be getting in the way of our weight loss is just your metabolism. Some people have a fast metabolism, some people have a slow metabolism. And as you get older, it's not a natural part of aging that your metabolism gets slower and slower. What is a natural part of getting older is you lose muscle mass and you gain fat. And it's not because it's a natural process, it's because we get less and less active as we get older. More family constraints, bigger commitments to family, life, stress, everything gets crazy. So it's not always just a natural part of getting older that we lose muscle. It's because we get less and less active. And the less active we get means less muscle, slower metabolism. It's a simple equation. But if you do things to make sure that you stay stronger and maintain lean body mass by strength training, by doing cardio, eating smart, you can maintain your metabolism throughout your whole life. So that's a big part of getting older gracefully, is strength training, for God's sakes. And of course, you might have joint pain and issues, and you might not be able to work out at an intensity or do certain things that you used to do before, but you can work out smarter. And that's one of the most important things. And one of the things that we do a lot is making sure that you're not necessarily just working harder, but work smarter. And that's really an important part of maintaining your metabolism throughout aging, is strength training. There's always a strength training exercise you can do. Are you going to be jumping around if you have knee problems? No, we're going to have to modify. So there's always a modification. You can always strength train. You can always do something that's going to progress your metabolism and move it forward. And that's the key in not losing the natural progression of, losing lean body mass and losing muscle and losing your metabolism and slowing it down. So if you have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism is when you have a slow thyroid, and let's say you've been diagnosed with it, you're taking medications. I hate to say, if you have a slow thyroid, it's going to take you have to work twice as hard and get half as much, and that's just reality. Unfortunately, your metabolism is the motor of your body, and if the engine isn't working properly, you just can't burn calories efficiently, and that's nothing you've done wrong, it's just you. It's just the way life is. It sucks, but you got to move on. You still got to do the basic components. You still have to work out. You still have to eat smart. You just might not see all these, some people are going to see amazing results and they're going to get you frustrated. You are on your own path. You're on your own journey. You have a slow metabolism. That's going to be just the way it is. For some people, it might have been their way their whole lives. Some people, it might have been happening when they hit menopause. It might be just a specific event when we hit our 40s. There's a lot of biochemical changes that happen, and some people, it's just a lifelong process and struggle. So just know if you have hypothyroidism or you're not sure if you do or you don't, you can easily go to your doctor and get it checked out. There's a couple blood tests they can check to see if you're at the certain levels and markers. And there are some easy medications that you can take. There's everything you can do in your power, strength training, eating smart. Those are the best ways to do it. But there are some, medical things that just happen and you have to deal with it. Do the best as you can, and there's nothing wrong with medications, for God's sakes. If you have to take them to get your metabolism into a good place, there's nothing you're going to do that's going to naturally, obviously strength training is going to increase your metabolism, but if you have a medical condition, there's only so much you can do, for God's sake. So you have to listen to your body, go to your doctor, listen to when things aren't quite working the way they're supposed to, go to the doctor, get tested out. It's a simple, easy test. They can check you out. They'll probably recommend you to an endocrinologist, and you can talk to them, and there's a million things and medications without really minimal to no side effects at all. So it's something very easy to check out. So those are some of the things that I want you to be careful of. You're not constantly banging your head against the wall going, I'm working out, I'm eating right, and nothing's happening. Sometimes there's some medical things going on that you do need to get checked out. Some other big things that people will be like, you know what, I'm eating awesome, I'm doing exactly what the meal plan's saying, I'm working out 4 or 5 times a week, and I am eating enough calories, I'm doing everything right, and it's still not happening. Some of the things that can totally throw almost anybody off track is not sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night and stress. And it doesn't matter how awesome you eat, and it doesn't matter how often you work out. If you don't manage your stress and you don't sleep at least 6 to 8 hours a night, like uninterrupted, then it doesn't matter what you do, because your metabolism and unfortunately your cortisone and your cortisol levels in your body are going to be psychotically high. And those fat hormones and stress hormones that get released when you are stressed and not sleeping, just stay around in your system. And when they stay around in your system, your body can't burn fat as a fuel source. It's that simple. Those hormones, the stress hormones, don't get dissipated, because when you sleep is when you dissipate the cortisol, which is one of your stress hormones that gets released when you're stressed or not sleeping. And if it builds up in your system and it never quite gets out of your system, then you're in a constant state of never burning fat as a fuel source. So it doesn't matter how awesome you're eating, it doesn't matter how hard you're working out. If you don't sleep, you don't get stressed, then you're an issue. And once again, if you're doing all the natural things that you can do, and exercise is a great way to sleep more, it's also a great way to reduce stress, but what if that's still not enough? You got to go to the doctor. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that there might be something medically going wrong. You might need some sleep aids. And there's over the counter. And the doctor will be able to give you some great recommendations. And there could be some prescription medications that might be more appropriate, and also for managing stress as well. So you have to listen to your body. If your body's not reacting the way it should by losing weight because you're exercising more and you're eating smart, not after a week, for gosh sakes. It's going to take a lot longer than a week to really know what is and isn't working. It usually takes about 8 weeks to really kind of get a good idea if eating smart and exercising are going to necessarily be the most appropriate. If you're doing everything you're supposed to do for 8 weeks and nothing happens, then you need to go to the damn doctor. Something's going on. So just use common sense. A week is way too quick for you to figure it out, because everybody is on their different journey. And I am going to be posting the top 10 biggest losers. And I know that motivates some people and totally demotivates others. So I want you to use, when I post that, as not necessarily as a, hey, this is what everybody else is doing. and they're seeing awesome stuff, and why am I not seeing those things? Because there's a million reasons why someone is doing really well and someone isn't. And it's not necessarily you're not doing well, you just might be losing more inches in the body fat in the beginning. Maybe you have a slow thyroid, so it's going to take a much longer time for you to see things happen on the scale. Use it as a guide to just say, hey, okay, that's where they're at, they're doing great, but I've lost 1 pound this week or half a pound this week, and that's awesome. I'm exercising, I'm eating better, and that's what this challenge is really about. And of course, people want to win the Mexico getaway, which is awesome, and I'm glad that you're motivated and pumped up to win that. But the real process is the journey of learning what works for you. If the meal plan isn't working for you, of course you can tweak the meal plan, for God's sakes. Maybe the meal plan sucks and you hate it and it doesn't work for you at all. I have 2 of those meal plans, and I have at least 100 others. And to tell you the truth, I don't even want you to use a meal plan. I want you to start learning how to eat on your own. The meal plan is a great way to learn structure, foundation, and formats of how to blend proteins, carbs, and fats together so you can start to use them. And if you want to just use, okay, for the first week, I'm just going to throw in the breakfast because I think I can do that. I can sneak that in this week. Next week, I'm going to have the breakfast and the lunch. And just make small changes. Of course, the smaller the changes that you make to your diet, the smaller the changes that it's going to lead to on the scale. But over the long term, it's going to have a much bigger impact than making these crazy changes. And then after 28 days, you go back to the way you're eating and all the weight comes right back on. So make this a lifestyle change. This isn't about just, winning Mexico getaway, which might be motivating to some and, not really interesting to many others. But use it as a real wake-up call and a learning process of what works for you. I'm trying to give you some basic formats and templates, which are going to be helpful, but they're not helpful for everyone. So just know that your journey might be different from everyone else's. You're struggling, let me know so we can help. There's always another way to attack this. And I just want you to have a realistic game plan of what you will and won't lose. And for everybody, it's different, for God's sake. So do your journey. And of course, it's hard not to compare yourself to others when I'm putting you in the top 10 and those things along those lines. Of course, I want you to do awesome. But I'm more concerned with those people that aren't and get demotivated, because I know that happens a lot in these challenges. For every person that's doing awesome, there's about 3 people that are not doing awesome at all and get completely frustrated and might have even gained a little bit of weight for the first week, and they're totally demotivated, won't get a scale weigh in, and just kind of throw their hands up and say, screw it, I've worked out hard and that's it, I'm done. Don't. Keep going. The rules for weight loss are the same. Exercise more, eat healthier. And that eat healthier part is going to be a little different for everyone. For your lifestyle, dynamics, food preferences. There's a million things going on here. So we have to find the plan that works for you. And it's not always a cookie cutter plan. So we have to sometimes dive in and take things one meal at a time, one day at a time. So I hope this answers a lot of your questions. If you're struggling, hang in there. You can do this, and it's going to take longer than a week, for God's sakes. It took a lot longer than a week to get to where you are now, and it's going to take a heck of a lot longer than a week to see some amazing things happen, and even though some people are going to see some awesome things happen. So great job for those people who are kicking butt. If you're not, hang in there. I guarantee you will. And if you need me for anything, you can always post on the Facebook group, an email, text me, and I know I'm bothering you on all those fronts. So you can just respond to any of the emails and texts I send you. So whatever you guys need, let me know. I can't wait to see where you guys wind up in another 3 weeks. Take care, guys.